Praise the Lord, saints. This is Elder Adrian Hammond. Now, to be honest, if there wasn't so many things happening, then I wouldn't say anything about our president. And no one would have to worry about Trump derangement syndrome or TDS. That's what I hear when people talk about him. They say TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. But then again, the same people didn't really matter when it was either Biden or Obama or even George Bush. This is, yeah. Even when they did something, it was not any derangement over them. But then and they say, well, our president right now is doing so many things. Yeah, he's doing a lot of things. He's doing so many things that no one else has done in their history. And you know what? They may be right. That he's doing so many things. The question is, though, is he doing them correctly? And because we have a First Amendment, we're able to discuss this thing instead of being afraid of being arrested. Now, that may happen later on, so I guess I better be careful about what I say. But again, I'm dealing with what our leader is doing. And yes, I'm praying for our leader. I'm not trying to dismiss him because, to be honest, if he does well, we all do well. We all share in the bounty. So I want him to do well. But if he's not doing well, then we can't be silent and just say, oh, can't say anything. Can't say anything at all. No, got to say something. Because essentially, he's going to, and especially since, to be honest, people are saying, he's Christian. Why is he Christian? Because he goes to a church? Now, you and I know better than that. That essentially you have to have a relationship with Christ, and it has to be able to be shown that unless you let your light shine, then who's going to tell whether you're Christian or not? I don't mean you force it on somebody. You don't throw lights at them, but essentially it should come naturally. You allow your light to shine, that people will see your good works and glorify God. So, because so many things are happening, I'm going to have to keep saying things regarding politics and what our president's doing. And again, this is for people who essentially are wondering what's taking place. What's concerning is, let's talk about Greenland, first of all. Now, Greenland is where we have what is called an ice cap. That means essentially you have the land, but then you have all of this ice over it. Not a few inches, not a few feet, but hundreds of feet, miles of ice sitting upon land because it's cold enough to be there. But it's in a very strategic position in the North Atlantic. It borders, actually, Canada. And it buttresses against the Arctic Ocean, of course. And the Arctic Ocean used to be covered with ice. Now, much of it is not covered in ice anymore. It's freezing, yes. You'll die if you fall in it, yes. Because because what do you call it? Hypothermia will get to you in a few moments. But in terms of its importance, anything that buttresses the Arctic Ocean is going to be pretty important. That means, of course, Russia. That means, of course, Sweden, Norway, and Canada, Alaska, which means the United States, and, of course, Greenland. So it's an important area. Now, our president is saying that we should take Greenland, either nicely or non-nicely. In other words, you have no say-so. And the problem with that is that Greenland belongs to somebody else. Now, true, Denmark is not a big country. In fact, it's rather small. And its armed forces are not nearly enough to protect. But then again, there is an American base on Greenland. Hope people realize it. There's an American base on Greenland. It's like there's one in Qatar, near Saudi Arabia. So there's different places around the globe. There is a base that the U.S. has in the Indian Ocean. In the Indian Ocean, on an island called, I think it's called Diego Garcia. Huge base. Pacific, you have Guam, Midway, and of course we have Hawaii. Not to mention, we have bases in Japan and South Korea, and I believe Philippines as well. So we're pretty much, you call it, represented in various places. And we don't have to own Philippines, we don't have to own Japan, we don't have to own South Korea. So why do we have to own Greenland? I'm sure that if it was asked, then the U.S. could actually build another base there if it was so important for national security. Not to mention, it's pretty hard to build bases on ice. Let me tell you why our president wants it. And see, that's the thing. The Lord wants us to be able to speak the truth about things, to be truthful. That we don't lead people astray, that we don't say one thing but mean another. But the reason why Trump, and he let it go some weeks back, hasn't been said very much about it, but remember, our president is a transactional president, which means that he wants to get something out of it. And in most cases, it's money. Like, for instance, he's using money as a weapon to get his way regarding with Greenland. I'm going to put tariffs on you, 25% and probably more if you don't give it to me by a certain time. Well, that is called bullying. Well, he can do that. Well, you don't get mad at Russia then. Don't get mad at China. When they bully, when they take countries, like, for instance, China wants Taiwan. Don't get mad when China takes Taiwan. Don't get mad when Russia overruns Ukraine. But that's different. No, it's not different. It's not their country to take, but they're taking it, especially with Russia. Greenland is not ours to take. In fact, Denmark would share to please the United States, put people on it. But that's not the reason why. It's the convenient reason. But why can't Canada? Canada's right next to Greenland. Why can't Canada? Because, of course, they don't have as big of an armed force, but how much can you put on Greenland? The reason why the president of the United States wants Greenland, it's not, yeah, you could say, well, they can put some more radar stations on, they can put some more bases. Yeah, they can do that. But they can do that anyway. Just sign an agreement with Denmark, and Denmark will gladly let the United States, I'm sure, make its presence felt in terms of more armed forces on there, or being more secure. They would welcome that. NATO will welcome that. But that's not why he wants it. He wants it because there is a growing consensus among scientists and geologists and so on that there are rare earth minerals just waiting to be taken out of Greenland. And as the ice cap begins to melt, which it is doing, more of the land will be exposed. And the more land that's exposed, the more easy it will be to extract those rare earth metals that the U.S. is currently getting from China. Therefore, China has essentially an advantage over the United States because China possesses much of the world's rare earth metals, like lithium, the things that we use for our car batteries, things that we use for our phones. We wouldn't have such a fluid society without these things. You need rare earth metals for these things. Sure, there's more metals or more things that can be applied to this, especially when you're dealing with chips. Yeah, chips. Those small things that are so valuable now. Not the potato chips, but the chips you put in your phone, in your computer, in your laptops, and so on. But that's why he wants it. Because he doesn't have to pay anyone for it. He ought to get it himself. Which fits a businessman. A businessman would think that way. What President Trump is, he's at first a businessman. I'm not saying that he can't be a businessman, but let's tell the truth about this. That's what he wants to do. But the problem is, it belongs to another sovereign country. And to bully someone like that, just because, number one, Denmark is a very small country. And number two, NATO is cowering right now. But I would say this. You take Greenland. Yes, and NATO will end up probably being dissolved. What does that do? Now, I'm going to talk about this at some time when we start dealing with, what do you call it, signs of the times. But I will be getting to that pretty soon. In fact, tell you what, let's wrap this up and tune into my sign of the times, and this would be one of those things. Not necessarily mean that it's going to lead to something, but if it does, it's quite momentous. Quite momentous. And you'd want to be able to understand the implications if the U.S. should leave NATO. And it's not what you think it is, but it's every sense as eventually catastrophic as anything that either history or the Bible will tell us. So stay tuned. God bless you in Jesus' name.